And we're back at the PvP Live Studios here in Frisco, Texas, and we're moving into match 2 between Muzzy and Sho. You know, this is the one that I think I was the most excited about tonight. I think this is going to be just a bare-knuckle boxing match.
Yeah, both of these guys have kind of been playing mid-range strategies, and when you have two players doing that, you're bound to see some major blows traded back and forth. Who's going to make an adjustment, or who's going to, you know, kind of adopt a different style to try to get the work done here? I mean, is Sho going to kind of go for a control style and try to pick off everything that Muzzy's doing? Is Muzzy going to stick to his game plans and go toe-to-toe with Sho if he chooses to play a mid-range strategy? I mean, anything can really happen in this match, but, you know, sort of going on what we've seen so far, I expect Sho to be playing a lot of Hunter, and I expect Muzzy to be playing a lot of different mid-range strategies.
Yeah, I expect to see Druid and the Dragon Warlock deck a lot out of Muzzy that we've seen him bring in a few times here. But again, we've seen some people throw a lot of curveballs. We're about to find out right now. Match 2, Game 1, Muzzy versus Sho.
And
that's a Ysera.
Yeah, that's a Ysera already in the opening hand. And Sho, he is choosing to go and be a little bit more aggressive, it looks like here. I mean, Bane of Doom really telling you the fact that this is a little bit of a mid-range strategy, but the fact that he's got Loatheb and Imp Gang Boss in here, you know, it could very easily be aggressive. And Abusive Sergeant doesn't tell us too terribly much yet, because a lot, you know, something that's been very big as of late is having Abusive Sergeant and Big Game Hunter to check something like Emperor Thaurissan. But then you see a Haunted Creeper and a Power Overwhelming. I have to believe this is an early oriented curve.
Yeah, this looks like that more mid-range demon kind of like Getcha deck out of Warlock that we've seen a lot lately. Yeah, just Getcha, because it doesn't feel.
Is that the official game term?
It's the official game term, because like what you don't see from it a lot, you don't see super powerful openings all the time. But it's a lot like the hybrid Hunter decks. It starts to really turn on the gas in turns, you know, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and you just start taking immense amounts of damage out of nowhere. Things like Bane of Doom could be game-changing in the middle of the game.
Yeah, Muzzy looking sharp with his new haircut, by the way.
I know, I like it.
Yeah, I love this coming out from him here. Armorsmith versus Haunted Creeper. This typically goes in the way of Armorsmith, but Sho has some pretty darn good ways to start checking what's going on. And Nerubian Egg, a fantastic draw from him. It looks like this is going to be a little bit of an early card advantage battle, and you know, with something like Warlock Hero Power, I have to believe that, you know, Sho, if this one starts going toe-to-toe, he's going to have the edge in the long term.
Yeah, if this game goes really, really long and Muzzy's just controlling the board the entire time, Sho could really run away with this with some well-timed life taps very late in the game, getting 2 cards a turn and just outvaluing Muzzy from there.
Wow,
Void Terror at it as well.
Too. I mean, this is looking very strong for Sho at this point. I mean, Void Terror just on the Nerubian Egg, I think, is a totally fine turn this play. You know, I have to say, though, he wants to get this Imp Gang Boss in play and really trying to start punish Muzzy for it.
Yeah, I mean, he's just going to push a little slower in this game. He's not going to put everything into one basket here by making a giant Void Terror. You know, he does leave behind a 4/4, but, you know, Muzzy is getting into turns 4 and 5. There are things like Brawl. I don't think Sho wants to push too hard right now. He's got a lot of weapons in his hand. He's got this Void Terror. He's got a Power Overwhelming already, and he's got an Ironbeak Owl for anything that could really go crazy out of here.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Muzzy has kind of been playing a much slower game, I would anticipate, you know, thinking that Sho believes that this is a little bit of a control matchup that he's facing down. And Muzzy so far done an excellent job of controlling this board. He's still at 27, facing on just a 1/1 right now, and it's going to be a matter of whether or not Sho can get all the right cards to start making these pushes, because right now his hand, it's, you know, it's kind of fragile to exactly everything that Muzzy's been doing. The Armorsmith really doing a good job at checking this Haunted Creeper and keeping it under control, and he's looking at a Deathbite right now. What's the proper threat to play here?
Yeah, that's the hard part, is what's the proper threat to play here. Now, I really like getting a Haunted Creeper in play and possibly just life tapping after this, but it looks like he might move this Abusive Sergeant. Yeah, I was going to say, move this Abusive Sergeant and kill this Armorsmith, but it's going to give Muzzy a pretty good target for this Deathbite here.
Yeah, I actually really love this play here right now. The Haunted Creeper entering play after the Deathbite means that the Death Rattle triggers are going to go in the opposite order, so he's going to get the 2/1/1s after the Whirlwind effect, but then also the Nerubian Egg sitting at 1 health shuts off that Whirlwind effect. And it's very dangerous for Muzzy to actually use his Deathbite in this position, so it's kind of becoming a little bit of a liability for him. He's got this Sludge Belcher to start backing himself up, but Sho has got a lot of ways to keep this board under control right now.
Yeah, he can use an Ironbeak Owl to get through the Sludge Belcher, or he can use a Power Overwhelming and start running his minions in. So it's very interesting to see what he's going to do from here, because it matters how much he values these minions sticking to the board with something like Deathbite sitting there that can clean up a lot of what's going on.
He's going to run over this Sludge Belcher, and he's going to make a big Void Terror afterwards, and he's actually going to get punished for this, because Muzzy has got a copy of Big Game Hunter sitting in his hand. So, you know, got a couple ways to start reloading again, but this is not the turn he wants to see, as a Big Game Hunter on turn 6 from a Warrior to check this big Void Terror. I mean, this is really Sho's major push this game, and it's about to be stifled.
Yeah, if Sho didn't have something like this Brawl in his hand or this Big Game Hunter, he would actually be super far behind here. But, you know, luckily for Muzzy, he's got this Big Game Hunter here, and getting an early good target for it is going to be a huge tempo swing here.
Yeah, I mean, in these aggressive matchups, you typically don't have any targets for Big Game Hunter, but in this one, he's got a beautiful one. The only thing he has to be concerned about, I think, in the least, is how Defender of Argus or Abusive Sergeant is going to affect his board position, because it can be checked on the reverse and then have the Nerubian Egg pop, but he's already got Deathbite sitting there, so I think he's totally fine with it.
Yeah, this Deathbite, you're going to see it sit around for quite a while here with this Nerubian Egg at 1 and this Haunted Creeper in play. Both of these minions, when they die, leave behind great things that cleaned up by this Deathbite.
You could see the look on his face, like, oh, just have the old Big Game Hunter for the early Void Terror, do ya? And Knife Juggler, not the best draw right now. He needs, I mean, at what point, what is a very good draw here for Show, though?
There's a couple of ones, anything that could get this Mal'Ganis into hand a little bit, maybe a Void Caller.
I actually completely take back everything I just said, because he does have the Nerubian Egg sitting at 1. Completely forgot about this. He's actually going to have a very good chance to pick off this Big Game Hunter here with these juggles. So, correcting myself and moving back, the Knife Juggler is actually a pretty
he gets
good draw.
He gets three shots at this with the Void Caller, but he needs it now. The first two have actually gone to Muzzy's face here. He really needs this Voidwalker's juggle to hit this Big Game Hunter. Yeah, there you go.
There's only a 12.5% chance, looking at from the beginning part of 3 juggles, to not hit the Big Game Hunter in that situation. So a little bit lucky on the last one, but he was unlucky on the first 2. I mean, you got to get lucky eventually.
Yeah, and so like Show's getting a very good board state here against what Muzzy's trying to do for him. Not the greatest Brawl turn in the world, wouldn't be the worst. You do have this Deathbite behind, and I think it's something that we were possibly going to see from Muzzy this turn, is Brawl, armor up, and use his Deathbite to finish this off. But there is something to be said about just playing the Shield Maiden as well.
I like just plopping the Shield Maiden down. I mean, he doesn't have a Shield Slam in his hand, and he does have Ysera and Alexstrasza and Brawl. So with the Shield Maiden, will kind of force Show to overextend a little bit, and then he has the Brawl afterwards. But he's going to go for it now. Wants to play a much safer game and make sure he gets to the late game in a very safe position. And the Nerubian Egg winning the Brawl is the dream scenario for Muzzy right now. He doesn't have to do anything to clear this board out, and then he's got the Shield Maiden to follow it up.
Wow, what a draw from Show, right on time.
That's a huge draw from Show right now. He just saw Brawl. He's already seen Big Game Hunter. His opponent already can't utilize the Deathbite very effectively. This could completely turn things around, and you see Muzzy reacting to this situation now.
Yeah, the Doctor is in, and he's in a big way for Show here. Great card off the top, perfectly timed on turn 7 here. Just,
Prescription? Pain.
Yeah, we're going to see an Emperor Thoris on here from Muzzy, just trying to get his hand to be a little bit cheaper so he can really start leveraging this stuff, because this game is starting to get out of control here. Yeah. That Brawl was great for him, but Show top decked the Dr. Boom here to really put it to him.
Void Caller, even another great pickup to make sure Mal'Ganis is going to enter play. That Imp Game Boss actually kind of throwing a wrench maybe in that plan. Gonna try to actually get a little bit lucky with these boom bots here. Goes 3 to the dome on the first one. Wow, he's gonna roll the second one too. I can't blame him for this either, because he does have the Void Caller in hand, so the Emperor not going to be checking it perfectly. Gets 5 points of damage out of the Death Rattles for his boom bots, the average amount. See that very often, but he's got 7 more with this Dr. Boom.
Do you think there's a world where he Iron Beak Owls to turn and just tries to get in 7 damage?
Yeah, I don't think that he's attacking this Emperor ever. I think he absolutely has to make the push for damage. And at this point, how important is the Emperor Thoris on activations? Your opponent's got the first one in their hand, in my opinion, from Show's perspective, is clearly very heavy. So how important is the second activation? The Iron Beak Owl could be critical to pushing through something like a Sludge Belcher, though.
Yeah, it's like what you said. Show has to probably believe that Muzzy's hand is very heavy, but he still won't be able to do, Execute was a pretty good one here.
Yeah, that was a very good draw. I mean, but how much can he leverage his life total at this point? Given that he has Alexstrasza in his hand and the Shield Maiden, I think he might feel a little safe doing it. So kind of, from this perspective, I see the Emperor hitting the egg, using his life total to take out the Nerubian behind it, executing this Dr. Boom, and then figuring out what threat he wants to play afterwards.
Yeah, it's going to be a great, clean turn from Muzzy here. You got it perfectly right. It's just, what do you want to do? Do you want a Ysera or do you want an Alexstrasza? And I got to believe you might be going with Ysera here and keep Alexstrasza to gain a little bit more life.
Yeah, I mean, does he feel threatened in his life total at all? He's already seen a power overwhelming.
No, I don't think he does.
Yeah, I don't think he does either. And Ysera very clearly that, and Show clearly not very comfortable in this board position. The Laughing Sister not going to be an impact, I don't think, in this game. And Defender of Argus, pretty darn good draw. I mean, this is the makings of the ability to push through for lethal damage in a couple turns.
Yeah, not only that, but it's going to give this Void Caller taunt, and if he gets through it, we're going to see a Mal'Ganis actually.
He actually wants the Mal'Ganis in play right now. And Muzzy needs a way to check this instantaneously. He's going to protect it with the Defender of Argus. This is really looking bad for Muzzy now. I mean, he doesn't have any effects off of it. Armorsmith's no help. He has no way to kill this Mal'Ganis right now.
Yeah, he has no way to kill this Mal'Ganis right now, and that's actually going to spell doom for him here.
I mean, this is really, really bad for Muzzy now. The Brawl, wishing he had it at this point, did get a lot of leverage from it, but how does he stay alive through this turn? I mean, he's looking at 16 points of damage on the board that he can't get through right now.
Yeah, I don't think he can survive this game. I think this game's going to go to show here.
And then every single demon that's made from the Imp Gang boss is getting +2/+2 from the Mal'Ganis.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit too much for Muzzy here. We're going to see him fall to show here in the first game. What a game back and forth between these two guys, though.
I mean, what can he draw to actually get out of this scenario? Because he's not quite dead next turn.
He can gain a ton of life here, and if he draws maybe a second copy of Brawl, that's something that he can do. Or if he has, I think he has one more Execute left in his deck, he can maybe find a way to get some damage on the Mal'Ganis and draw an Execute, but it's going to be really hard.
Sho needs 4 more damage in this spot. I think this is a laughing stock turn. I mean, this is recoverable for Muzzy now.
Yeah, this is recoverable, but Sho's going to, I was about to say, he has a lot of outs to exactly kill him here. So.
That's 20 damage, 1450. That's 20 damage exactly. Sho, that one draw, I mean, he had that, and then if he has Doom Guards in his deck, it's kind of crazy, but maybe there's even like an Arcane Golem or something weird in here. But, that's the lethal draw right now.
So going to draw an extra card here just for
good measure.
Just for some giggles.
Yeah, and that's going to do it. Wow. I mean, you talk about big turns happening between these two. Muzzy almost had complete control over this board, but it wasn't enough. And the Big Game Hunter on an early Void Terror, didn't have anything to answer the Mal'Ganis after that. And that card, I think, single-handedly carried that game for Sho.
You're 100% right. The Big Game Hunter early was great. It was a big play for him. But, you talked about the turn where he brawled. If he would have played Shield Maiden that turn, there's a chance he could have gotten Sho to overextend a little bit more and gotten maybe more out of the Brawl. So that might have been the most important turn in the game, because after that, he had no way to deal with the Mal'Ganis, and he died to it.
Yeah, even got the perfect Brawl on the turn that he got it. The Nerubian Egg was the one that lived, and Sho had 0 power afterwards. Would you have played the game the same way? Well, you can go and find out. We have a recap and all the breakdowns for you over at pvplive.net, where you can see these guys' full competitive histories, everything that they've played in their professional Hearthstone careers, and how they have played them. These guys are now making adjustments to their decks, though. They can change anything they want between games. That's the HPL format. We don't shackle them and make them pick 3 decks to bring to this event. They can play anything that they want. When we come back, Game 2 is going to be getting underway and Sho's out to a 1-0 lead. You're watching Hearthstone on PvP Live.